Love, a precious gift, but also a journey full of challenges. Have you ever felt lost in your relationships? Or wondered how to build a lasting and happy love? When in love, men also have hidden fears that few understand. The unspoken worries, the sense of insecurity about whether they are good enough, whether love will last, always linger in their minds. This fear is not only a part of their emotions, but also a big challenge in the journey of building a relationship. Let's explore these hidden fears to understand more about what men truly feel when they love and how they face these worries. Welcome to Sophia's Knowledge channel, and my name is Sophia. This is the place where we share lessons about love, real-life experiences, and tips for building strong relationships. In today's video, Sophia will reveal to you 8 hidden fears men have when loving women too much. These are things you may not have thought of before. If you are looking for deeper understanding about love and how to develop relationships, don't miss this video. Before we start the video, find a quiet space and put on your headphones so you can truly feel each word I share. Relax and let's enjoy this journey together. Are you ready to embark on this journey? Let's go. Number 1. Fear of getting hurt. The hidden corners in a man's heart. Love always brings wonderful emotions, but along with that come hidden fears that not everyone easily reveals. One of the biggest fears men have when loving deeply is the fear of getting hurt. Men, no matter how strong, also have vulnerable corners in their souls. They may be resilient in the face of life's storms, but in love, they also experience moments of uncertainty, worry, and fear. If they love too much, they expose their truest emotions, placing their hearts in the hands of the woman they love. But that very thing makes them feel insecure. Why do men fear getting hurt in love? Having been hurt in the past. Many men have been hurt by love before. Perhaps they have loved someone with all their heart but were betrayed, abandoned, or not appreciated. The old wounds are still there, causing them to fear that if they love wholeheartedly again, they will suffer once more. Not used to showing weakness. Society often associates men with strength, toughness, and little emotional expression. But when in love, they become more sensitive than ever. The fear of getting hurt is not just about losing someone, but also about losing themselves, fearing that their emotions won't be respected. Worry that feelings won't be reciprocated. One of the scariest things for men is loving more than the woman they are with. When the feeling of imbalance arises, they start to ask themselves, am I loving her too much? Does she appreciate my feelings? Am I placing too much hope in something uncertain? These thoughts make them more cautious about expressing their feelings. Fear of being hurt when the relationship ends. When a man loves deeply, he doesn't just see it as a relationship but as an important part of his life. He may have already made long-term plans, imagined the future, and nurtured many memories. But if one day that love is gone, he will have to face an immense void, with unanswered questions. This frightens him, and sometimes, he chooses to love more cautiously to protect himself. What have they done to hide this fear? Men do not easily express their true emotions, especially when it comes to fear. They may choose to keep their distance, not love too much, and not show affection fully. They may appear carefree, cold, or even pretend not to care too much about the relationship. Some may create a tough exterior, always appearing strong, controlling their emotions, and not revealing their vulnerabilities. But in reality, inside, they are constantly worried, fearing that if they open their hearts too much, they will be hurt again. Some even become jealous and controlling, not because they do not trust their partner, but because they fear losing the woman they love. They feel anxious when the other person has other relationships or when someone else comes into the picture that might threaten their love. How can men overcome the fear of getting hurt? No one can avoid getting hurt in love, but the important thing is how we face it. For men, in order to overcome this fear, they need to understand that love always comes with risks, no relationship is perfect, and everyone can get hurt. But if they don't dare to love wholeheartedly, they will miss the chance to find true happiness. Communicate more openly. Sharing emotions with their partner will help them feel lighter. Don't hide worries, because a lasting relationship requires mutual understanding. Accept that no one can fully control love. No matter how hard they try, they cannot control another person's emotions or actions. The only thing they can do is love sincerely and appreciate each moment together. Believe in their own value. A man who is always afraid of being hurt usually does not trust in his own worth. When they know they deserve happiness, they will no longer fear that one day love will not go as expected. In the end, the fear of getting hurt is a natural part of love, but don't let it become an obstacle that prevents a man from loving wholeheartedly. Life always holds surprises, and love is the same. Only when we dare to open our hearts can we feel the most beautiful things love has to offer. Number 2. Fear of emotional dependence. When men lose themselves in love, love can be a driving force that helps a man grow and become stronger. But on the other hand, it can also turn him into someone completely different, more sensitive, more easily influenced, and even lose control of his emotions. That's why many men have a hidden fear they rarely admit, the fear of becoming emotionally dependent on the woman they love. Why do men fear emotional dependence? Losing the control they once had. Men often want to be in control of their lives. They pride themselves on being able to control everything, from work, finances, to personal relationships. But when they love too much, they gradually lose that autonomy. Their mood can rise and fall based on the attitude of the woman they love. A delayed response to a message, an unintentional comment, or a small change can make them feel anxious and restless. Fear of losing themselves. Many men were once strong, independent individuals with their own goals in life. But when they love deeply, they may put all their focus on the relationship and forget about themselves. They may change their habits, interests, or even core values just to align with their partner. This change can sometimes make them feel lost and no longer recognize themselves. Fear of being seen as weak. Society often associates men with strength and rationality. But when emotionally dependent, they may become more sensitive, vulnerable, and even have emotional reactions. This goes against how they want to present themselves, causing them to feel like they lose their masculinity and are seen as weak. Fear that love will no longer be balanced. When a man loves too much and becomes emotionally dependent on a woman, he may feel inferior in the relationship. If the woman senses this, she may unintentionally start to take his feelings for granted. Men understand that a lasting love requires balance, and they fear that if they become too dependent, they will lose their place in the relationship. Fear of losing happiness without her. When men are emotionally dependent, they often place all their happiness in the woman they love. This unintentionally creates invisible pressure for both parties. They fear that if this relationship ends, they will not be able to move on or find joy in life. This fear makes them obsess over the relationship, and this is what they fear the most. Signs of an emotionally dependent man. Always waiting for her messages or responses and feeling insecure if not receiving them. Prioritizing her over everything, even if it affects his personal life. Easily changing his views, interests, or habits just to please her. Feeling lost or unmotivated if she is not present. Willing to forgive or overlook all her mistakes, even if he feels hurt. How to help men overcome this fear. Build independence in love. A healthy relationship does not mean that both people must merge into one, but that each person keeps their own identity. Men need to understand that, no matter how much they love, they must still have their own life, interests, and personal goals. Set emotional boundaries. Loving is good, but loving to the point of losing yourself is dangerous. Men need to learn to keep some space in the relationship where they can think freely and make decisions without being influenced by their partner's emotions. Maintain other relationships outside of love. When men focus solely on one woman, they easily fall into emotional dependence. They should spend time with family, friends, colleagues, and other relationships to maintain balance in life. Don't place all your happiness in one person. Happiness does not only come from love but also from career, passion, friends, family, and oneself. A man who knows how to create joy from many sources will not fall into emotional dependence on just one person. Be confident in your own value. Men need to believe they are worthy of love and respect, rather than trying to do everything to keep a woman. When they are confident in their value, they will no longer fear losing love and will not be overly influenced by emotions. The fear of emotional dependence is not just a problem for men but is something anyone can encounter when in love. However, a truly lasting relationship is not about one person giving everything for the other, but about both individuals growing and cherishing each other without losing themselves. Men do not need to suppress their emotions, but they need to learn to control them so that love does not become a burden, but a driving force to help them improve themselves. What do you think about this lesson? Have you ever applied something similar in your life? Please share your thoughts or story in the comments. I will read and respond quickly. Thank you for your interest. Let's continue together. Number 3. The fear of losing respect. When men fear losing their position in love. In love, men not only want to be loved but also want to be respected. They may be willing to sacrifice, endure difficulties, and even change themselves for the woman they love. But if they feel disrespected or lose their position in the relationship, they will fall into a state of confusion and lose direction. This is one of the biggest fears men rarely dare to admit, the fear of losing the respect of the woman they love. Why do men fear losing respect? Respect is the foundation of love. For men, love is not only an emotion but also a confirmation of their self-worth. They believe that when a woman truly loves them, she will appreciate what they do, what they strive for, and what they bring to the relationship. When respect is lost, they feel that love is also gradually cracking. Fear of being seen as weak. Society often associates the image of men with strength, resilience, and decisiveness. In relationships, they want to be the one who can protect, care for, and lead. If a man becomes too sensitive, too vulnerable, or loses control, he worries that his partner will no longer look at him with admiration. Fear of being compared to others. One of the things that frightens men the most is when they feel they are no longer good enough in the eyes of their woman. If she begins comparing him to her ex, a successful colleague, or another man who seems better, his self-esteem will be deeply hurt. Fear of becoming controlled. When in love, men may be willing to pamper and compromise to make their woman happy. But if they feel excessively controlled, always having to follow their partner's wishes without having their own opinions, they will feel like they are no longer themselves. This makes them worry that they are just a passive man in the relationship, no longer someone deserving of respect. Fear that their sacrifices are not recognized. A man may do many things for the woman he loves, from small tasks like picking her up, helping with work, to grand gestures like building a future together. But if these things are not acknowledged and are taken for granted, he will feel that he is no longer appreciated. Signs that a man feels disrespected. Feeling that his words no longer hold value, and his opinions are not listened to. Always being criticized, judged, or compared to others. Feeling like he always has to compromise without the right to make decisions. Being disrespected in debates and not being valued in important matters. His efforts are no longer appreciated, and his contributions go unnoticed. How to help men overcome the fear of losing respect. Build internal confidence. Respect doesn't just come from others but also from how men perceive themselves. A man who is confident in his value will not be easily shaken by negative things. He needs to understand that his worth is not only determined by how others treat him but also by how he values himself. Set boundaries in the relationship. A healthy relationship requires not only love but also mutual respect. Men need to know the boundaries they cannot accept to be crossed. If they feel disrespected, they should be ready to speak up to protect their own value. Don't lose your own views. No matter how much they love, men should never lose their own opinions. They can listen and understand, but that doesn't mean they always have to agree with everything their partner says. When they express their viewpoints clearly and decisively, they will be respected more. Focus on self-development. A man who continually strives to develop himself, constantly learning and enhancing his personal value, will always gain respect from others. When they become a better version of themselves, they no longer need to worry about losing their position in the relationship. Choose a woman who truly respects them. Not everyone knows how to appreciate the feelings and efforts of others. Sometimes, the problem isn't with the man but with the partner. If a woman doesn't appreciate what he does, always downplays him, or doesn't show respect in her behavior, then this might not be a relationship worth continuing. In the end, the fear of losing respect is one of the most haunting fears for men in love. They don't just want to be loved, but also want their partner to recognize their worth. A truly lasting relationship can only exist when both parties respect each other. Men don't need to prove their strength, but they shouldn't lose themselves just to hold on to love. After all, true love only exists when both people respect each other. If you're still watching the video, don't hesitate to comment continue. Please leave your thoughts and questions in the comments below. I'd love to hear your opinions, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to motivate Sophia to create more meaningful and engaging videos. Let's continue together. Number 4. The fear of rejection or unreciprocated love. When men stand at the crossroads of love. Love, no matter how beautiful, always comes with risks. One of the greatest fears for men when in love is the fear of rejection or not having their feelings returned. They may be strong in their careers, decisive in life, but when standing before the woman they truly love, they become hesitant, even fearful. This is because love is not always fair. One can love wholeheartedly, but there is no guarantee that the other person will feel the same way and reciprocate that love in the same manner. And that is exactly what makes men afraid. Why do men fear rejection or unreciprocated love? Rejection equals a blow to self-esteem. For men, self-esteem is one of the most important things. They can accept failure in work, but when rejected in love, it is a major shock. When a woman does not return their feelings, it is not just the loss of a potential relationship, but also the feeling of being undervalued in terms of their own worth. The haunting fear of being subordinate in love. Men always want to be the ones to take initiative, to lead in the relationship. But when they love more, when they express their feelings first, they feel like they are in a weaker position. If the other person does not respond with an equal level of affection, they feel deflated, out of balance, and wonder if they have misjudged the feelings between them. Fear of being disrespected or mocked. Not every rejection is delivered gently. Sometimes, men face harsh rejections or even ridicule from others. This leaves deep emotional scars, making them more cautious in expressing their feelings in the future. The memory of past wounds. Many men have been rejected or have loved someone who did not love them back. These wounds are not easily healed. They may have had high expectations, once believed that if they loved enough, the other person would change. But the reality is not always that simple. Old pain makes them fear experiencing that feeling again. Fear of losing what they already have. In some cases, men love a close friend, a colleague, or someone with whom they already share a strong bond. They fear that if they express their love and are rejected, not only will the love be lost, but even the friendship or connection between them will no longer be the same. Signs that a man fears rejection. Hesitant to express his feelings even though he really likes someone. Always looking for clear signs from the other person before taking action. Delaying confessing love, waiting for a perfect moment that may never come. Undervaluing himself, thinking that he is not good enough for the other person. Feeling heartbroken when seeing the other person being close to someone else but not daring to show it. How to help men overcome the fear of rejection. Understand that rejection is not failure. Love is not a competition, and being rejected does not mean a man is inadequate or not good enough. It simply means emotions cannot be forced, and sometimes, loving a lot does not guarantee that love will be returned. Understanding this will help men feel less pressure when facing rejection. Accept that not everyone is meant for you. Not everyone is a match for you. Instead of tormenting yourself over someone who doesn't reciprocate your feelings, men should understand that it's just a matter of differences, not that they are not good enough. Build internal confidence. A confident man will not be overly afraid of rejection. When he knows his own value, he will understand that a rejection does not define who he is. He remains valuable and still has many other opportunities in love and life. Learn to accept and move on. Some men, after being rejected, wallow in sadness, torment themselves, and lose faith in love. But the best way to get over it is to accept reality and move forward. Open your heart to new opportunities because there are many more suitable people out there waiting for them. Focus on personal growth. Instead of worrying about winning someone's love, men should spend time developing themselves, becoming a better version of themselves. When they are stronger and more confident, they will no longer fear rejection. Instead, they will see it as a turning point to find someone truly meant for them. In the end, the fear of rejection or unreciprocated love is one of the things that makes men hesitant when it comes to love. But love cannot be forced, and rejection is not the end. The most important thing is how they face it. Either let fear stop them from finding happiness, or face it bravely and believe that true love will come at the right time. Number 5. The fear of losing personal freedom. When men feel tied down in love. Love is a bond, but it doesn't mean absolute confinement. One of the biggest fears for men when they love too much is the fear of losing their personal freedom. They may be deeply in love, but at the same time, they worry that the relationship will cause them to lose themselves, their personal space, and the things they were once passionate about. This can make them hesitant to commit long-term or feel suffocated in a relationship they once cherished. Why do men fear losing freedom when in love? Changes in personal lifestyle. Before entering a serious relationship, men have the freedom to do whatever they want, go wherever they like, meet friends anytime without having to explain to anyone. But when in love, especially when the relationship becomes more serious, they might feel that those freedoms are limited. Nights out with friends might be replaced by dates, personal plans must give way to joint plans with their partner. Although this change is a natural part of love, for many men, it feels like losing a part of their own life. Pressure to dedicate all their time to the relationship. When in love, women often desire a stronger connection, wanting their man to spend more time caring for them. But for men, this sometimes becomes an invisible pressure. They fear that if they don't spend enough time, their partner will feel neglected or unloved. However, men also need their personal space to do the things they love, playing sports, pursuing personal hobbies, or simply having quiet moments alone. When they feel this freedom is restricted, they tend to avoid excessive attachment. Fear of losing other relationships. Before being in a relationship, men have many friendships, work relationships, and family ties. But as the romantic relationship becomes more serious, they may feel that they are being pulled into a world of just the two of them, while other relationships fade into the background. Many men fear that if they dedicate too much time to their romantic love, they will gradually become distant from friends and miss out on fun activities they once valued. Pressure from expectations of their partner. Some women, when in love, tend to want their man to change to suit them more, from their clothing, lifestyle, habits to how they spend their time. These expectations, whether intentional or not, can make men feel like they are being controlled rather than being themselves. Freedom is not just about being able to go out anytime, but also about feeling comfortable being their true self. If they feel they must change too much to meet their partner's desires, they will tend to want to escape the relationship. Fear of losing control over life decisions. When single, a man has the freedom to make important decisions in life, from choosing a workplace, setting career goals, to long-term personal plans. But when entering a deep relationship, he no longer thinks just for himself. Every major or minor decision must take the other person into account, from moving to another city to develop a career to financial decisions. This loss of control can make men feel that their life is no longer their own. Signs that a man fears losing personal freedom. Avoiding long-term commitments, such as living together or getting married. Feeling suffocated when the partner demands too much time together. Frequently feeling the need for personal space but not daring to express it. Avoiding serious conversations about the future of the relationship. Tending to secretly do things they enjoy because they fear their partner won't approve. How to help men overcome this fear. Build a relationship that respects personal space. A healthy love doesn't mean being constantly attached to each other. Both partners need to respect each other's personal space, allowing each other the freedom to maintain personal hobbies and relationships. Communicate openly about personal needs. Instead of keeping the fear of losing freedom inside, men should openly share with their partner about what matters to them. When both understand each other's needs, it becomes easier to find a balance between love and personal freedom. Maintain independence within the relationship. Men should continue to pursue their hobbies, passions, and personal goals even while in love. This not only helps them feel more comfortable in the relationship but also makes them more attractive in their partner's eyes. Choose a woman who shares the same view on personal freedom. Some women tend to want to control their partner, while others respect personal space. Men should choose a partner who understands and shares the same perspective on independence and love, rather than forcing themselves into a relationship where they feel overly bound. View love as a choice, not a constraint. When men realize that love doesn't mean losing their freedom, but rather having a companion to enjoy life with, they will fear it less. A good relationship doesn't take away anyone's freedom, it makes both people better together. In the end, the fear of losing personal freedom is one of the common worries for men when in love. But true love is not about constraint, it's about companionship without anyone losing themselves. When both partners can find a balance between love and freedom, the relationship can truly be lasting and happy. Number 6. The fear of being taken for granted. When men feel their sacrifices are not appreciated. Love is most beautiful when both people appreciate and are grateful for each other. But if one person keeps giving while the other automatically receives, the relationship will gradually lose its balance. One of the deepest fears men experience when they love too much is the fear of being taken for granted, when the things they do are no longer seen as valuable, but simply as an obvious duty. When this fear becomes a reality, men will feel like they are just a part of the system, no longer the man their partner truly admires and loves. This can deeply hurt them, causing them to withdraw from the relationship or lose trust and love. Why do men fear being taken for granted? Men love through actions, not just words. Unlike women, who often express love through emotions and words, men show love through actions. They express love through small acts. Picking up and dropping off, fixing things, taking care of their partner when she's tired, quietly supporting the important things in her life. But when these actions are no longer appreciated and are seen as a natural part of the relationship, they will start to question, is what I'm doing still meaningful? Fear of losing value in the eyes of the woman they love. When a man loves, he always wants to be seen as someone admirable, someone valuable in his partner's eyes. But if his efforts are taken for granted, he will feel like he no longer matters. There is nothing more heartbreaking than a man trying his best but not receiving any recognition or even a simple thank you. When effort goes unappreciated, love gradually becomes meaningless. Love is about giving and receiving. If a man always strives to make his partner happy but never receives corresponding care in return, he will begin to feel like a servant in the relationship. At first, he might tell himself that he does it out of love. But over time, if all his efforts are considered a given, he will gradually lose the motivation to continue. Fear of losing fairness in the relationship. A healthy relationship is not about one person always giving and the other always receiving. When men feel they are constantly sacrificing and taking responsibility for everything, while their partner doesn't reciprocate, they will feel unfairly treated. This unfairness not only exhausts them but also makes them doubt their partner's feelings. They start to wonder, does she love me for who I am, or just for what I can provide? Fear of being easily replaced by someone else. Once a man is taken for granted, he will feel that he is no longer special. He begins to fear that if one day he stops trying, his partner will quickly find someone else to replace him, without feeling any regret. This makes him feel that love is no longer based on sincerity but merely an exchange. As long as he's performing well, he gets to stay. When he can no longer perform well, he will be forgotten. Signs that a man feels taken for granted. The things he does are no longer noticed or appreciated by his partner. All his efforts are seen as responsibilities, not acts of love. He feels like he has to constantly please, but never receives similar care in return. When he stops doing something, his partner doesn't ask about it, but only complains about not getting what they want. He feels that if he didn't have what he has, career, money, protection, love would no longer exist. How to help men overcome this fear? Set clear boundaries in the relationship. Men need to understand that love doesn't mean unconditional sacrifice. They have the right to expect care and appreciation from their partner. If they feel they are being exploited or taken for granted, they should openly share their feelings. Choose someone who appreciates what they do. Not everyone knows how to value the small things in love. A woman who truly loves will always acknowledge what her partner does, even the smallest actions. Stop when feeling exploited. If a man feels that he is always sacrificing without receiving anything in return, it might be time to reconsider the relationship. A healthy love must be shared from both sides, not just one person carrying the burden. Don't lose your self-worth for love. A man doesn't have to do everything to prove his love. If a woman truly loves him, she will love him for who he is, not just for what he can do. Learn to say no. Men don't need to agree to every request just to please their partner. If they feel they are being exploited, they should learn to say no. A woman who truly values them will understand and won't see it as an issue. In the end, the fear of being taken for granted is one of the biggest concerns men have when in love. They may give a lot, but if what they do is not acknowledged, they will gradually lose motivation and trust in love. A relationship can only truly be lasting when both partners appreciate and love each other. Never let a man feel that his love and efforts are just a given. Because once they feel that way, they may choose to walk away, even if they still love. Number 7. The fear of not being good enough. When men feel they don't deserve love. Love is a challenging journey, but for many men, there is a deep-seated fear that always lingers, the fear of not being good enough. This is the worry about whether they can become worthy of their partner's love. They fear that what they have, who they are, isn't enough to make their partner happy or to sustain that love over time. When the feeling of not being good enough creeps in, it can erode a man's confidence, causing him to feel insecure, anxious about himself and the relationship. This fear can profoundly affect his behavior, emotions, and the way he interacts with the one he loves. Why do men fear not being good enough? Pressure from society and expectations. In modern society, there are many expectations placed on men. They must succeed in their careers, be the rock of the family, and be strong and independent. These pressures come not only from family and friends but also from within themselves. When in love, they feel that not only they, but also their love, must be perfect. They fear that if they don't meet these standards, their partner will be disappointed and the love will no longer be cherished. Lack of self-confidence. Everyone has their own flaws, and men are not always confident about what they have. They may feel that they're not attractive enough, successful enough, or skilled enough to deserve a woman's love. These worries lead them to doubt their own worth in the relationship. Especially when facing a woman who is successful, confident, or exceptionally attractive, they may feel inferior. They fear that no matter how hard they try, they still won't be able to provide the life she expects. Comparison with others. Men, even though they may appear strong on the outside, often compare themselves with others in their relationship. They fear that their partner will find someone better than them, someone richer, more attractive, or smarter. When this comparison happens, they begin to doubt their ability to keep their love. In the age of social media, where every moment of someone else's life can be exposed, this comparison becomes even easier and more harsh. Fear of not meeting their partner's expectations. Men often have the tendency to want to please the one they love. They want to be the protector, the one who brings happiness and safety to their partner. However, they are also very afraid that they won't be able to meet their partner's high expectations. This could be related to finances, career, or expectations regarding care and attention. When these expectations aren't met, they feel like failures and wonder if they're good enough to make their partner happy. Giving up their identity for love. Another big worry for men is losing their personal identity in a relationship. They may fear that in order to keep the love, they will have to change too much. They don't want to lose their passions, interests, or habits that they've built over time. However, if they can't maintain their independence and personal identity, they will feel like they are no longer themselves, leading to insecurity and anxiety about the relationship. Signs that a man fears not being good enough. They frequently worry about not being able to meet their partner's expectations. They feel inferior about what they have or lack self-confidence in the relationship. They often compare themselves to others, especially to people their partner may like or admire. They avoid expressing their emotions or love because they fear their partner won't feel it. They feel exhausted or stressed from constantly trying to prove their worth. How to help men overcome this fear? Understand that love doesn't require perfection. Love doesn't demand perfection. A healthy relationship is built on mutual acceptance and respect. Men should understand that they don't need to be perfect to deserve love. Their flaws and weaknesses are a natural part of what makes them special and sincere in the relationship. Build self-confidence from within. Confidence doesn't come from the recognition of others but from within. Men need to learn to love themselves and appreciate what they have. When they realize their own value, they will no longer worry about whether they are good enough. Share their feelings and worries with their partner. A good way to overcome this fear is to communicate directly with their partner. If a man feels worried about not being good enough, he can share that with his partner. A true partner will listen, understand, and provide the support they need to feel more secure and confident in the relationship. Don't let comparison control them. Comparing oneself to others is understandable, but if it dominates their life, it will make them feel insecure and lacking in confidence. Men need to realize that everyone has their own value, and love is not a competition. Focus on personal development. Men should spend time developing themselves, whether it's in their career, hobbies, or personal relationships. When they improve and grow, they will feel more confident in themselves and reduce the anxiety about not being good enough. In the end, the fear of not being good enough is one of the most painful feelings a man can experience when in love. However, love is not about perfection, it's about sharing, respecting, and accepting each other. When men learn to love and appreciate themselves, they will realize that love is not something they need to prove, it's a journey that both of them walk and grow together. Number 8. The fear of losing her. When men worry about no longer being the only choice. Love is a wonderful yet challenging journey, and throughout this journey, there is one fear that men cannot avoid, the fear of losing her. This is a deep, often unspoken fear, but one that is incredibly strong and not everyone is willing to admit it. When a man's feelings for a woman have become a crucial part of his life, he often fears that he won't be good enough, that he won't meet her expectations, or that he won't be able to keep her by his side. The fear of losing the one he loves doesn't just stem from deep love but also from feelings of insecurity and worry about the sustainability of love. Men, no matter how strong they seem, still have their moments of weakness and fear, especially when facing the possibility of losing a beautiful love. Why do men fear losing her? Losing an important part of their life. For many men, the woman they love is not just a life partner but an irreplaceable part of their life. She brings joy, provides encouragement during difficult times, and makes them feel complete. Therefore, when thinking about losing her, men feel like they are losing a vital part of themselves. They fear that without her, their life will become empty, lacking, and joyless. This feeling can push them into a state of anxiety, making them always feel tense and afraid for the future. Fearing they are not good enough to keep her. Although strong, men also have concerns about their ability to perform in a relationship. They worry that they are not good enough, that they are not caring enough, not successful enough, or not understanding enough to deserve her love. When a man loves a woman deeply, he will often think about whether he can meet her expectations. This fear can cause him to live with insecurity, never being certain that his efforts and love will be enough to keep her by his side. Fear of betrayal or replacement. In a relationship, the fear of being betrayed or replaced by someone else is one of the things men often worry about. When they love someone, they not only fear losing their love but also fear that their woman will find someone better, more attractive, or someone who can meet the needs they cannot fulfill. This feeling of insecurity makes men become protective and more fearful that all their efforts and sacrifices will not be enough to keep her in their lives. Worrying about an uncertain future. Love can bring a lot of happiness, but it also carries unpredictable elements. Men often fear that the relationship won't last, that one day they may no longer be her only choice. They fear changes in life, such as work, family, or social relationships, that could cause love to fade. Love isn't always stable, and the uncertainty about the future is a factor that makes men feel insecure and worried about losing her. Fear of not being able to make her happy. Men tend to feel great pressure in relationships, especially when they love deeply. They want to make their partner happy, to be a solid companion, to be the one who can protect and care for her. However, sometimes they feel that they cannot meet all of her expectations, and this makes them fear that they will not be able to keep that love. The fear of not being able to make her happy or meet her needs makes men feel exhausted and anxious that the relationship may end soon. Signs that a man fears losing her. He is always worried about the future of the relationship, often thinking about possible bad situations. Sometimes, he becomes overly protective and doesn't want to share her with anyone. He constantly tries to prove his love and care, sometimes excessively. He feels stressed and insecure when he doesn't receive equal attention or affection from her. He doesn't dare to show his vulnerability or fear because he is afraid she might think he isn't strong enough. Ways to help men overcome this fear: learn to trust in oneself and a relationship. A relationship cannot be based on anxiety and doubt. To overcome the fear of losing her, men need to learn to trust in themselves and the love they have. When they believe that the relationship is built on respect and love, they will feel less anxious. They need to realize that love is not something that can easily be lost as long as both are committed and work together to build it. Communicate openly with your partner. One way to reduce anxiety is to share your feelings with your partner. If a man feels worried about the future of the relationship or fears losing her, he can talk directly and honestly with her. The sense of safety and understanding from the partner will help them feel more at ease and less tense. When feeling loved and accepted, a man will find it easier to overcome this fear. Focus on the positives. Instead of focusing solely on fears and anxieties, men should take the time to enjoy the happy moments in the relationship. Love is not always perfect, but each day is an opportunity to love and care for each other. When they learn to cherish the good moments, they will reduce the fear of negative things happening in the future. Maintain independence in the relationship. To feel more confident, men need to maintain their independence and not let love entirely dominate their lives. When there is a balance between work, hobbies, friends, and the relationship, they will feel less dependent on love. This helps them maintain confidence and the ability to sustain a healthy relationship. Accept change and uncertainty in the relationship. Every relationship faces challenges and changes. Men need to understand that love is not always going to stay the same as it was in the beginning, and what matters is that both are willing to face these changes together. When accepting uncertainty and being flexible, they will feel more secure in love. Ultimately, the fear of losing her is one of the most common yet painful feelings that men face in love. However, love is not something that can easily be lost if both parties are willing to try and appreciate each other. By building trust, communicating, and maintaining independence, men can overcome this fear and build a long-lasting, stable relationship. Conclusion. Love is always a journey full of challenges, and for men, the hidden fears in relationships are inevitable. From the fear of being hurt, losing respect, to worries about not being good enough or fearing the loss of their loved one, all these feelings stem from deep emotions and a desire to protect love. No matter how strong and resilient they are, men can't help but go through moments of weakness and insecurity when faced with these fears. However, what's important is recognizing and confronting these fears rather than letting them control their lives. Every fear can become an opportunity to grow and develop in a relationship. By communicating openly, building confidence from within, and accepting that love is not perfect, men can overcome worries and maintain a solid relationship. Finally, love is not a battle to prove one's worth, but a journey to face challenges together and build memorable moments. When men learn to love themselves, love others, and accept their own insecurities, they will find lasting and happy love. Love is a combination of respect, understanding, and mutual care, and that is the key to overcoming all fears. Thank you for watching today's video. I'm so happy to share these lessons on love and relationships with you. I hope you've learned something new and can apply it to your life. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next videos. Thank you for always being with me and supporting me. I wish you a wonderful day, and don't forget to love yourself a lot.